Hey team, it's Gem from New Jersey, and I've just finished my final day of level 2 of the amino biofrequency course here with Dr. Perry Nicholson. And yep, I gotta say, this has been a mind-blowing weekend. Um, I think overall, my biggest takeaway from this course was really honoring the hierarchy in the human body in terms of, what's our most precious resource? What are we really geared to do? And survival is our number one game as a human. So anytime the nervous system is under threat, we're just going to keep backing into that fight, flight, fright mode. And many people are living in that mode. And I personally probably have been there for about oh God, a good 20 years or so. And it's only been the last couple of years that I've started to really be able to emerge from that, just through shit that happens. And some of us have got better coping strategies than others. But anywho, when we deal with an illness or an injury, it's so super important. There's such a big reminder. It's so important that we take into consideration any emotional trauma that an individual's gone under, and that can date back to, as far back as the whole birthing experience, injuries as kids that we may have had. There was a woman that came in today, in fact, and she was in her early 60s, and when she was born, she didn't have a spina bifida on her spine, but it was kind of similar to that. It was like this open wound that had to heal, and over that area, her body just had a huge pain response to it, although if you'd asked her, it actually wasn't sore. Yeah, Lenny, still at it. This is my last day. I'm actually going home tomorrow, so I'm ready to go home. When you get to a point when you're traveling or at a workshop somewhere and you're like, man, just get me home. I miss my boys. I know my man's watching. I miss my boys. I miss my lovely man, and our girl Laura has arrived home from Perth. She's been in Australia for a while now, so she's got back home as well, and I haven't seen her. Well, I saw her at Christmas time, but it'll be nice to be able to give her a huge hug as well. So anyhow, so looking at that emotional stress is massive. So we got to deal with these things, and a lot of us just push things down into the gut. And of course, this is where we start. This is our emotional gut brain also is really affected with pain and inflammation. Hey Charlie, how are you, girl? I see you there. Yay! So the neck system, and I've talked about this before, and I absolutely have a fascination with. So if anybody's in our clinic, and my team also sort of really pick up on the things that we all move forward together, and the lymphatic system. Oh, look, seriously, I've seen some magic with that. I've done some work on someone's elbow around the lymphatic area, and watch their shoulder range of motion improve significantly. And that was after I tried everything on a shoulder. So there's just so much magic in these other systems that are just not well addressed in the healthcare industry. And going from there down through the gut. So many of us, particularly of our environment these days, the foods that we've got available to us and our lifestyles have probably got leaky gut issues and have no idea. So proteins leaking into the system and just causing havoc. And we can, through this therapy, look at addressing the inflammation that is in through the gut as a result, and then get on and start healing it. So carnosine is one of the most powerful antioxidants that our body has. You can get it through animal food, like meat and things like that, but I don't believe you can get it through plant food. So correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. Totally keen on that. Hey Kristen, how are you? Oh my gosh, if you're thinking of doing this course, you got to get on it, girl. So looking at that hierarchy again, emotions, lymphatic system, gut, and those are the top three. And if you can make a king hit through any of those, I'm kidding you, you're going to have some serious change in somebody's sore ankle or somebody's sore knee or, back or whatever. And I'll give you an example. I saw a guy today, 63 years old, and The list of health issues that this man has. So he spent 18 years in the military here, and when he was 21, he had some surgeries that he described how they kind of went into the kidneys and just strung some tubes down to the bladder, and then they had to reconstruct his bladder. And all I'm just going, oh my God, all that internal scarring that would have been going on in his system, not to mention inflammation through hacking into someone's body that way. And then, of course, dealing with the aftermath of general anesthetics and pain medication and all sorts. So that was that, right? And then, and that was at 21. Now this guy's like 63 years old. I've got a list here because I was like, I've got to make a list of this dude's stuff. Any health condition he had, you name it, he had it. Allergies, hemorrhoids, asthma, kidney stones, kidney disease, heart disease, osteoarthritis. He had a gastric bypass. He had, what else did he have? Tons of different things. He had a cervical neck fusion or a cervical fusion, whatever you want to say. And he had shoulder pain. He's got slap lesions, so tears in the fibrocartilage in the shoulder, in both shoulders. He had 3 failed back surgeries, lower back surgeries, and I've seen that over and over. And then he was 8 weeks post a disectomy, and he was, after the military, he went on and worked for the rail system, which he thought would be a step back for him, but in fact turned out to be more stress and more physical labor for him. And he was 8 weeks out of this one of his back surgeries. And he went to go under, I don't know, a platform or something like that. And these guys dropped these 700-pound railway ties on him. And so what it ended up doing is actually splitting his spine, and he ended up having to go in and have an immediate spinal fusion. So you're just sitting there going, holy shitballs. And how much trauma can a body handle? Well, in this guy's case, a lot. So then we dig on a little bit more, not to mention the emotional stress of being in the military and doing some service and things. But then he starts going on and he says, I asked him if he's got any children. And he says, yeah, he had 2. He has 2, but his firstborn died at 6 weeks old. And I freaking burst into tears because I thought, how much shit can somebody take, right? Like how much? And he just shut down on it. And so anyway, he'd come in with the shoulder pain and neck pain and back pain, and the scar on his lower back had become inverted and puckered, and it was just pain across the lower back. He had numbness down his legs. He had nerve pain down his left leg, and he had severe osteoarthritis in his left knee. So where do you start? So as a musculoskeletal therapist, how am I going to make an impact on a man who's got all of this stuff going on? I can't change the osteoarthritis. I'd just be like, oh my God, where do I start here? And because we have seen so much magic, and I've been treating people in my own practice, working on more of the honoring the hierarchy within the system, and as I said, emotion and lymphatic. I mean, I'm not a psychologist. It's solely not my scope of work. But when you start digging in a little bit, it's just having someone to listen is really therapeutic for somebody. So that often happens, but I can treat the lymph, and I can teach somebody how to clear their own lymph and really get that backlog of toxins and inflammation starting to shift. So if you guys don't know, you've got 15 liters of lymph in your system approximately. You've got 5 liters of blood. And it takes, I believe we clear 5,000 milliliters of blood a minute, and we will filter about 2 to 3 mils of lymph. So it's a pretty slow system. But it gets rid of all of our waste. Now, if you've got a block somewhere, you're going to have brain fog, inflammation through the whole system. It's just insane. So the lymphatic system is something that we can influence. So through this ANF therapy, what we actually did, hey Campbell, how's it going, man? So through this ANF therapy, what we actually went, holy shit, we need to give this guy some input for all of this emotional trauma that he's been through. You think about the adrenal stress, the whole as I talked about, the whole gut was all inflamed, and all around the back of the head. Every lymph node in him was just screamingly painful. And so we went there. We stuck a bunch of discs around his back of his head and over the vagus nerve. You can increase blood flow, you can increase circulation, vasodilation through these discs, and we put some discs around. Like, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, they're actually, some of you guys have seen them. Hold on, there we go. I've got one there. So it's got a cool little dude on it. I really like it, but it wigs me out if the guy's not like upright. If he's kind of on an angle, it really annoys me. Anyway, and they're loaded with different frequencies. So they've got carbon fiber in them. It's a fabric that NASA developed over 20 years ago, and I've got something popped up on my camera here, and it says Pasquale wants to be in your video. Do you, babe? Anyway, it says that and they're charged with different frequencies. So if you think about it, every signal that our body sends has got a certain frequency, and I talked about that the other day. So the liver has a different frequency. The brain has a okay, babe, that's all right. I see you. He's got to go. Ciao. And so you can really stimulate through the biochemistry and the neurofrequencies. You can stimulate certain things to occur. Anyway, long story short, did all this stuff on this dude. He's got pain pretty much 100% of the time. Sometimes, today it was only about a 6 or 7 out of 10, but sometimes he's, right off the charts, and it really impacts him. And so this is just all through disc stuff, man. We got rid of his shoulder pain, so he had a lot of pain and tension up through the traps. Remember, he's got those slap lesions in his shoulder, so that really interferes with a lot of stuff there. He's also fused in the neck, all that type of stuff as well. And through his lower back, he goes, and you can get up and you go, well, how's that feel? And you should know, like, instantly what goes on. And if it doesn't, then it might mean that you just need to move the disc a little. And that's what we did around the ones around his lumbar spine where he'd had this fusion, right? Hey, Diane. See, you popped up there. So we had this, like, fusion and this scarring and this tension through the area. So he said, yeah, I can still feel a little bit and whatever. And so we thought, we'll move these discs a little. So I peeled them off and moved them up maybe half an inch on either side where it was really sore. So I pushed in a spot and he just about jumped off the bed. And I was like, that's the spot. Put it in there. So we did. And he got up and he goes, he says, that's much better. Like, way better. So his numbness down his legs disappeared. His sciatic pain down the inner thigh had gone. Remember, we'd cleared his neck pain as well. And then we sort of attacked around the knee a little bit and put some high-powered frequencies, which can really drive quite deep and change the signals in. And by the time he left, the only sign or the only pain that he reported to us, and he's a tough guy, this guy, was that he had a bit of pain, like a minor bit of pain that had shifted around the knee just to the front, whereas before it was really deep. So that we addressed the emotional trauma that his body had gone through with every single thing that had happened to him in his life, from the kidney surgery to the military to his first child dying to the accident on the railways to the stress of working on the rails and things like that. And that was the approach. And I just went, oh my God, like, this is insane. There was one other that I was going to share with you that was really cool today. Hang on, what was it? Bugger. It'll come to me. Anyway, it was really cool. This guy's tried everything. He's been to every medical doctor, osteo, chiro, physio. Kirsten, it was incredible. It was mind-blowing in terms of what you saw, the result happening. His wife came in as well, and she's a lawyer. She's quite a heavy, overweight lady. She's had a gastric bypass as well, and a lot of emotional trauma to her too. And she deals with estate law, so you kind of think, gosh, all that shit that she must deal with all the time, right? And she's got severe osteoarthritis too, and she couldn't get off a chair without being in pain, so she just didn't do it. So of course now she's not moving, so she's like overweight and all this kind of stuff. And so the same kind, she had a lot of things going on, a lot of lymphatic problems as well, and a lot of gut inflammation. So they did this, what we call a gut protocol around, and I don't even think she had any discs around her knee. Yeah, they just cleared some lymph, man, through this stuff. And she was getting up and down off this. Oh, that's right. They stuck some discs on her glute, like in the muscle belly of her glute. And she was powering away, like up and down these stairs and up and off this chair. And her face just completely changed. She just doesn't do that because it's painful. So you see these changes really fast. That's the other one I was going to tell you about, was a woman actually on the course who had an ACL reconstruction in her left knee years and years ago. And just last week she fell down these stairs, right? And landed on her knees, and she said if she thought she'd broken her leg, it was that bloody painful. And the left knee was quite swollen. And so we did some work around there, sort of getting the main quad firing up, because she'd lost all power there. And you put these discs, if you put them in the right place, all of a sudden that muscle goes woof, and it is there. Like it's just amazing. But we did a lymphatic drainage around where she was stuck in her lymph system. So everybody's different. So it's not a cookie cutter thing at all. You kind of palpate around, you're finding what's the problem. Is it a nerve thing? Because you have your, like I was saying, emotions, lymph, gut, and you know your organs will trump your muscles, your nerves will trump those, and your vascular system, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of come at a completely different approach. But I kid you not, and it's another one of those things. It's like, man, why don't we video it? Probably within about 2 to maybe 2-3 minutes, maybe a bit less than that, she the swelling in her knee like went down visibly by a minimum of 60%. Like it was crazy. Like how this stuff is just you got to be open to sort of to understand how it can happen, and but then when you see it happen, I mean, you just can't deny that. And we all just went, holy shit, look at that. Even Perry was like, oh my god, he said that's like more than 60% less swollen that fast. So this therapy's been around for, as I might have said at the beginning, the fabric for the discs have been around for over 20 years, but this aminobiofrequency has been around for about 4 years, and it's been here in the States for about the last year, because Dr. Perry Nicholson brought it back here. And so I kind of got wind of it at the end of last year and went, get me on the nearest course, because I want in on this. I want to know what it is. I want to be able to influence people's lives. I want to be able to give people some hope that have tried absolutely everything and it hasn't worked. Yeah, I want to be able to do that. So I'll come home, I'll give it a, practice it, and hopefully get some incredible changes like we've seen. No, there's no hope to it. It will happen. I'll get the changes that I know are possible because I've seen it. I'm really excited. And then move on through the rest of the levels. So as a physical therapist or a physiotherapist, I can go right through. I believe I can go right through to level 8, which is the end, and I think there's some advanced courses after that. So I'm pretty sure I've got access to that too, should I wish, but apparently it is tough. So I don't think I've been this excited about and passionate about a therapy in a really long time. So, yay! That's it. Hit me up if you got any questions. I am really keen to share this. I think everybody needs to know about this. And the systemic inflammation, we just don't even know enough about this yet. But look at the environments, look at the physical environment that we're in. Look at that, the stress that everybody's under these days. Look at our lifestyles. Remember, inflammation begins in the brain first. So as I talked about yesterday, if you want to know a little bit more about the lymphatic system, I'm really keen to share as much as I know about it as well. Yeah, Kirsten, it's awesome. You can do it. But in the meantime, you got to give kudos to Dr. Perry Nicholson, because he's the dude who has really thrown himself into learning as much as there is about it, and there's just not enough information available. So but yeah, it's a pretty important system. So yeah, anyhow, that's me. I got a flight tomorrow. In fact, I'm actually watching an ACL webinar that Perry's doing tomorrow. That's you can register for as well, which I think is really cool because he's got just some amazing approaches and insights to the human body. So that I'll be at the airport sort of watching through that. And then I don't arrive home until Wednesday. And I'll be in clinic Thursday. But so if you want to hit me up for anything, please do. Totally pumped. Oh, and then we've got a presentation at the chiropractic school. So, of course, hello, what do I want to teach? This kind of stuff, because this is stuff that we this is new. This is the next level, man. Cool. All right. Spot you guys later. Cheers.